now like to invite Sarah Jane Kemmer to the podium.
Jesus loved his disciples. They were his best friends. The basis of this entire passage is the power of friendship, and in reality, the basis of who we are as people. Humans need relationships, and we depend on our interconnectedness with others. Everyone wants to feel as if they belong somewhere or with someone. I didn't really discover the importance of friendship until I came to SAS. Before I started here, sophomore year, I went to a tiny school in Selma, Alabama called Morgan Academy. I was a cheerleader, on homecoming court, and class president. From the outside, I was at the pinnacle of my high school career. But in all reality, I felt alone. Sure, I had friends, but none of my relationships were really authentic. I felt like I was unable to trust anyone without the entire class knowing the secret by the next day. I had friends, but I knew I was missing something. When I came to SAS, I finally discovered what I was missing out on. As students, we often laugh and make fun of St. Andrew's slogan, "You belong here." But as a senior, this phrase has held true for me since the moment I arrived on campus until now. This community has supported me through family issues, academic struggles, and times when I was questioning everything I believed in. If you know me, you know I'm a worrier. I worry about schoolwork, what people think of me, and most especially the future. I get so caught up in my day-to-day tasks that I'm not present throughout the day. That's actually been my main focus for Lent. I've been trying to focus more on my relationships with others than just myself, but to be quite honest, I'm pretty bad at it. I'm a lot like Peter in that regard. Peter didn't understand why Jesus was washing his feet. He couldn't fathom why the king of the world was serving him and not vice versa. It all comes down to one phrase. You do not know now what I'm doing, but later you will understand. Like Peter, I often don't understand why certain events happen in life. I'll probably never understand why my dad is blind and hasn't seen me since I was 3 months old. The older I get, the more I question. I've seen my siblings get married and have children, all while my dad has been blind. And for some reason, I still can't wrap my head around the reason why it has to be my dad that's missing out on my life-altering events. I still have so many questions, but they're not all negative. I will never understand how I got so lucky to attend SAS and meet some of the most amazing people on earth. At SAS, I learned how the relationships you make are the ones that get you through the times you're questioning everything. Like Peter, in the times that nothing really seems to make sense, I depend on the support of my friends. On Maundy Thursday, we are able to reflect on the beauty of relationships with one another. Though we as humans cherish friendship, for some reason we don't always respect it. We mess things up and we hurt one another. Think of a time someone has betrayed you. This someone may have been a close friend, a family member, or even a complete stranger. Regardless of who it was, betrayal hurts. Though the disciples are true examples of friendship, they are also prime examples of betrayal. Judas, a follower of Jesus, betrayed him, ultimately leading him to his death. Everyone has a Judas in their life. Everyone is able to think of a time when someone has wronged you or betrayed you in some way. Whether it's friends or even a family member, we can all think of a vulnerable time when someone we loved hurt us. It's easy to dwell on the mistakes of others, but we often overlook our own wrongdoings. So, think of of a time when you were Judas. A time when you hurt someone you loved. Junior year for me, we might as well call Judas year. I was confused about who I was as a person. My friend group was changing rapidly, and I just didn't understand why God was allowing everything to happen. I believe he knew I was hurting, but he just didn't care. I began ignoring God's presence and began to think I could handle my own worries. I ended up bitter and angry with God. I backstabbed one of my friends and betrayed their trust because unconsciously I blamed them for my unhappiness. People found out and understandably were angry at me. I was angry with myself because I couldn't understand how I had been given a second chance at having a wonderful high school experience, and somehow I figured out how to blow it. The hardest part was I assumed I would never speak to the friend again. I was filled with so much guilt, I didn't want to come back to SAS this year. During this time period, I learned how important that friend was to me. I became a proctor, was asked to be on honor council, and I won a speech competition, but nothing really felt right without them as a friend. Then, one day, everything began to go back to normal. It was so simple. When they walked into class, they gave me a pencil I'd left in the library. The smallest action meant the entire world to me. We began talking a little more every day, and slowly but surely, they forgave me. This person was a lot like Jesus in this situation. Despite the fact that Jesus knew he would die that night, he continued to wash the feet of his disciples, including the man that would betray him. Though I betrayed my friend's trust, they ultimately forgave me. That's exactly what Maundy Thursday is all about. Christ's most important commandment, the universal truth unbounded by any one religion or lack thereof, love one another. We wash each other's feet to display our love for one another. Despite the grudges we hold, the guilt of our past, or our worries of the future, Maundy Thursday gives us all the opportunity to let go and be alone. I think that for Jesus, this moment was his last chance to simplify his entire life's mission into a few words. Jesus came to love and serve. We, as his disciples, must carry on this legacy. This is the message of Maundy Thursday. Tonight is when we remember and deeply reflect on the heart of Christ and the heart of his life among us. Christ stoops to live among us and serve us out of his deep love, and Christ sends us out to be blessings and to serve others through him. So, go out. Love one another enough to get your hands dirty. Love one another enough to cross boundaries. Love one another enough to empathize with those who don't understand. Just love one another.